Okay, so some of you guys have been asking me about the Unix 9 assignment. So I decided, well, um, mostly to cover this part here, how to work on question 1 in regards to permission. So if you're not being able to copy those files, that means that you're actually doing something improper. So you have to double check your command. You should be able to copy those files. You should not be able to modify those files or copy those files to some specific directories, but you should be able to fulfill this assignment, this question. So I decided to cover most of these questions over here. So I have my user here, which is also a regular user, as we can see. So my user Diogo has the group user, also Diogo, and so you can see that this user does not belong to the root group, so it's not an administrator user. It has the same permission as any other of you guys. Okay, so the objectives is to be able to use basic backup and restore commands. I'm not gonna cover the CPIO command because, as you can see here, basically it does the same thing as the tar command. Um, so you can use either of those. If you want to, um, if you have any trouble, any difficulties working with CPIO, just email me, talk to me, and we'll work on that. But you should be fine. Okay, so to be able to use basic backup and restore commands in this exercise, you copy files to a file archive using the Unix, tar, and CPIO commands. So you have to log on to the centos.cci, it's not CI, cci.fsu.edu server, create an archive of the following files. All of them are in the /etc directory. So the files are the passwd, hosts, fstab, and init tab. So let me long list all these files. The passwd, and then hosts, then fstab, then init tab. Okay, so we can see that although I am not the owner and I don't belong to the owner group, I'm in others. So the permissions that will be applied to my user are these permissions here. But we can see that my user can read. It has permissions to read these files. And in order to copy files, that's all that you need. You just have to be able to read files, open files. So you don't have to actually change, alter, write those files or override those files. Okay, so it says create a directory called backup in your home directory. Okay, so let me make sure that I am in my home directory, which I am, /home/Diogo. So first of all, I have to create this directory here called backup. Okay, now it's there. Okay, so if you remain in your home directory, that's where I am. I am in my home directory. What command options and argument are needed to copy the above files into the backup directory? Well, all that you need to do is to use the cp command. Now observe, I'm not using mv, I'm not moving these files, I'm copying these files. So I'm just going to use cp and then /etc/passwd, then the next file, which is /etc/hosts, then /etc/fstab, then /etc/init tab to the backup directory. Okay, so if I list the if I list the backup directory now, all those files are in there. So the cp command, it will take a number of arguments, a number of parameters. Okay. What is important to realize here is that the last argument, the last parameter, is going to be the destination. All the others in between the last directory, the destination, and the cp command are the files that are supposed to be copied to that destination. Okay, you could do one command for each file. So you could do cp/etc/passwd space backup, and then same thing but using hosts and then fs tab, then init tab. But it's a lot easier to just do it at once. Now, very important here, since I am in my home directory, the destination directory must be backup. It cannot be /backup. Okay, this is not going to work. First of all, the /backup directory does not exist. Even if it existed, probably I would not have permission to perform that operation. So you have to either do just backup because it is in your current directory, or I could specify tilt/backup because tilt stands for /home/your directory. So, or which is the same of this. Oops, one extra slash there. Okay, so these are all the same. Let me clear the screen here. Do a long listing of files in the backup directory. If you can see all 4 files, you're ready to create your file archive. Enter the following command while still at your home directory. Okay, so we saw that the backup directory has those 4 files. Okay, now it asks us to do tar-cvf backup.tar backup. And there it is. So then it asks us to fully explain in English the operation and output of this command. Okay, so technically speaking, the tar command is one of the tools that you can use to create an archive. Now, I'm not saying that it's a compressed archive. It's just an archive. Okay? There are ways of creating an archive and compressing the files that are inside that archive. This is not what we're doing here. Here, we're creating an archive, That's why we use the C option, the C switch, create. V stands for verbose. So I want to see what's happening. I want to see the files that are being, in this situation, since I'm creating an archive and adding files to that archive, I want to see the process of adding files to that archive. So it's verbose. And F is the switch used to specify the file, the archive file name. So basically what I'm doing is I'm creating an archive called backup.tar, and what I'm gonna place in that archive is going to be the backup directory. Observe that the tar command is recursive, which means that if I specify a directory, it will automatically include the files that are inside that directory. Okay. Question 3. List your home directory. Okay, there it is. Do you see a new file? Yes, I do. It's right there. What is the name of your archive file? So right there, backup.tar. What results do you get when you try to read the file with cat more less? So if I try to do cat backup.tar, what happens? There. So if we analyze it, what we're going to see is the content. Okay, let me do a pipe more here. What we're going to see is it will display the content of the files that are archived in that archive file. So first of all, we can see the passwd file right there. This is all the passwd file. Then we're going to have the fstab file. Then, so it will continue to display the other files. Okay, what happens if we use more or less to do the same thing, same result? Okay, so one good thing, well, nowadays, this is how it works nowadays. Back in the day, that it wouldn't work. But nowadays, when we try to see the content of an archive file, what it's going to do is it will show the content of the files that are stored in that archive. Type the following command, so let me clear here, tar-tf backup.tar. Okay, so what can we see here? So the T switch of the tar command displays the content of the tarball or the archive file that we're informing passing as a parameter. So I want to display the content, see the content of the backup.tar. Okay, so it has the backup directory with these 4 files: passwd, hosts, fstab, and inittab. What results do you get? How do they differ from the results from question 3? So in question 3, we were looking at the content of those files. And here, I'm looking at the list of files that are in that archive file. So that's the difference. 5. What command options and arguments would you use to delete the passwd file in the backup directory? Do it. So we have the backup directory and the, what file is it? Arguments would you use to delete the passwd file in the backup directory. So the command that we use to delete a file is the rm command. In this case, you do not have to use any switches, any options, unless you want. But you don't have to because you're just deleting a file. So it's basically rm and the file that you want to delete. Now, considering that I am in my home directory and the file that I want to delete is in the backup directory, not /backup, but backup directory. So I'll simply do rm backup / the file I'm willing to delete. And now if I list the backup directory, there it is. The fstab, hosts, and inittab files are in there, but not the passwd command. Make sure that make sure that the passwd, so there is an extra U here that's not supposed to be there. Make sure that the passwd file is not in the backup directory. Okay, we saw that. Type the following command from your home directory. So I am in my home directory and it's asking us to do tar-xvf backup.tar backup / passwd. Okay, and then it says list the contents of backup, describe what happened. Oops, ls backup. So the passwd file is there once again. So it asks, okay, what happened here? Here, when we listed, after we deleted the passwd file and we listed the backup directory, the passwd file was not there anymore because, well, it was deleted. Now, after running this command here, the tar command with these options, the passwd file is now there again. So what happened? What happened was that if we remember, the backup.tar archive has a copy, it's archiving a copy of all those 4 files, and we can do tf backup.tar to verify that. Okay, so the passwd file is in that archive, and one way of extracting a file from an archive, recovering a file from an archive, is to extract that file. So that's why we use the x-x option. So I want to extract in a verbose way from the archive file backup.tar the backup/passwd file. Okay, so what it's doing is extracting backup/passwd, and that is why we have the passwd file in there once again. Okay, so all of the above can be done with the other archiving utility, CPIO. Ray and Ray have not discussed CPIO, but it is installed on the centos.cci.fscu.edu server. So it's asking you to run all these exercises again, but now using CPIO instead of the tar command. Like I said, we're not going to do that here, but you can use cpio-help to see how you can use this command. You can take a look at the main page of the CPIO, okay? Or you can Google and see how to use this tool. I hope this video has been helpful. Thank you.